Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Okay, good. Today we're going to be looking at
Right.
excerpts from Understanding Sin as Error
Okay.
by Waxira,
Interesting.
founder of the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And the Brotherhood really emphasizes self-knowledge and conscious living.
Yeah, they do.
So right away, this is a really fascinating concept.
It is.
It kind of turns our typical ideas about sin upside down.
Uh-huh.
So what's the big idea here?
Well, basically, Waxira, instead of approaching sin with that like guilt and punishment sort of lens, the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood, they present sin as just an error.
An error.
Yeah. Just a deviation from the truth
Yeah.
and understanding.
Okay, so we're kind of trading in that heavy judgment.
The chains.
The chains, yeah.
Yeah.
For something a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Something more flexible.
Yeah.
Something that focuses on personal growth.
Right.
So I'm really curious to unpack this idea of error. What exactly makes it different from this traditional concept of sin?
Okay, well, traditional views often frame sin
Yeah.
as like a moral failing,
Hmm.
something that makes you inherently bad.
Right.
You know, it's all about guilt
Right.
and shame
Yeah.
and needing this external forgiveness.
Yeah, needing someone else to sort of absolve you.
Right, exactly. Waxira, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
sees error as a consequence
Huh?
of ignorance or just a lack of awareness.
Okay.
So it's less about you being good or bad
Yeah.
and more about just understanding
Yeah.
and aligning with your true nature.
It's interesting. It almost feels like we're shifting away from a courtroom drama to like a scientific lab.
I like that.
Though instead of us facing a judge and jury,
Mm.
we're just in this experiment and we're learning and we're evolving
Exactly.
through trial and error.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this shift has some pretty big implications
Okay.
for how we approach personal growth.
Oh, okay.
Because if sin is an error,
Mm-hmm.
then the focus moves away from punishment.
Yeah.
And towards learning.
Towards growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It encourages us to be more compassionate.
Yeah.
With ourselves and with others, recognizing that we're all on this journey.
We're all learning.
Sometimes we stumble.
Right. This is making me think about all the times that I have been way too hard on myself. You know, maybe if I had viewed those moments as just errors
Mm-hmm.
rather than sins, I
Mhm.
could have approached them with more curiosity and less self-judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little hung up on this idea, though. If sin is primarily an error against oneself,
Mm.
how does the text deal with, the ways that our actions affect other people?
That's a really good question. It's where things get a little bit nuanced. So Waxira does acknowledge that while sin primarily harms the individual,
Mhm.
those ripples, they do extend outwards.
Okay.
Actions that are driven by, those negative emotions, anger or greed,
Yeah.
can create chaos inside us.
Mm.
But then that chaos spills over
Yeah.
into how we interact with others.
So it's like a stone being tossed into a pond.
Okay, I like
That
that.
initial impact is on the stone itself, but those ripples spread out
Exactly.
and it impacts everything in the water.
Right.
So does the text give any
Oh, yeah.
examples of how this plays out?
Absolutely. Waxira points out
Yeah.
that acting from negative emotions
Mm-hmm.
often leads to more suffering,
Mm.
not just for ourselves,
Sure.
but for the people around us.
Okay.
So think about a time when you snapped at somebody out of frustration.
Oh, yeah.
You probably created tension in that relationship. You probably hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
That's one way that those ripples manifest.
Right. And this all connects back to the idea of interconnectedness.
Exactly.
Waxira even quotes a passage from Acts. In God, we live, move, and have our being.
Hmm.
It's emphasizing that.
Right.
We're all part of a larger web.
Right.
Our actions, whether positive or negative, have an impact that goes way beyond ourselves.
Yeah. And that makes me think of the idea of systems thinking, where everything is interconnected. Everything's interdependent.
Yeah.
Our actions are like threads in this tapestry. Each one contributes to the overall pattern.
Okay, so this is making me wonder. Does the text address the degree to which an error impacts others?
That's a great question.
Like, is a white lie
Yeah.
to spare somebody's feelings on the same level as like a deliberate act of betrayal?
Okay, so that speaks to the nuance of this whole thing. While the text doesn't explicitly define levels of error,
Okay.
it emphasizes the importance of intent.
Okay.
It encourages us to be mindful
Yeah.
of the potential consequences
Mm.
of all of our actions, even the ones that seem small or well-intentioned.
Okay, so even though the focus is on sin harming the individual first,
Yeah.
the text doesn't ignore the potential for that collateral damage.
Right.
So it seems like it's a call to be more conscious,
Mm-hmm.
to be more intentional in the choices that we make, and recognize that even a seemingly small error can create ripples that extend far beyond ourselves.
Precisely. It's about cultivating a deeper awareness of how interconnected our actions are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about striving to make choices that align with our true nature, choices that promote harmony within ourselves and in the world around us.
Mm-hmm. It's fascinating how this idea of sin as error shifts things from blame and judgment to understanding and growth. But I am kind of wondering, how does the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood propose that we actually learn from these errors?
Well, that's where the text gets really practical. Instead of dwelling on guilt and repentance, the Brotherhood wants us to approach errors with curiosity and with self-reflection, like a scientist, analyzing an experiment.
Okay.
What worked, what didn't, and how can I refine my approach?
So rather than just like beating ourselves up for making a mistake, we can ask ourselves, okay, what was the lesson here? What can I learn from this experience? That's a lot more empowering than just feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the text also emphasizes the importance of self-awareness.
Okay.
Like understanding why you made that error. What were the motivations? What were the thought patterns that led to the error in the first place?
So it's like we need to become observers of our own minds, noticing those negative thought patterns, noticing those emotional triggers that can kind of lead us astray.
Yeah.
So does Waxhira offer any specific tools or practices to cultivate that kind of self-awareness?
Well, the text highlights the importance of mindfulness.
Mindfulness?
Paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Waxhira wants us to be aware of our thoughts, of our feelings, and of our actions as they arise, but without getting swept away by them.
This seems to really resonate with a lot of contemporary psychological approaches.
It does.
Mindfulness has been shown to be so beneficial for mental and emotional well-being. So it seems like it would be a perfect fit for this framework of learning from errors.
Exactly. It helps us create a space between our thoughts and our actions, allowing us to make more conscious choices, like we're hitting that pause button before we react impulsively.
Okay, so speaking of those conscious choices, I am curious how the text addresses the role of knowledge in overcoming errors.
Okay.
If sin stems from ignorance, does knowledge become the antidote?
That's a key principle in the Brotherhood's teachings. Waxhira really emphasizes seeking out knowledge and understanding, both about ourselves and about the world around us.
So expanding our awareness, shedding light on those areas where maybe ignorance is leading us astray.
Right.
It makes me think of that saying, knowledge is power.
It is.
But in this context, it's not about just accumulating facts. It's about using that knowledge to make wiser choices.
Exactly.
It's about knowledge as a tool for transformation.
Right. It's about connecting the dots between knowledge, understanding, and action.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so for example, if I know that acting out of anger is often going to create more harm than good, I can use that knowledge to choose a more constructive response the next time I feel anger rising within me.
So knowledge is helping us to recognize those pitfalls and choose a different path.
Exactly.
It's like having a map that's helping us navigate the terrain of our lives with more skill and awareness. But even with the best map and compass, we are bound to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, yeah, we are.
And that's where I think another crucial element comes into play, forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
It's often talked about in religious and spiritual contexts. But I'm curious how the Brotherhood approaches it.
Okay.
Does it differ at all from the more traditional views?
So traditional views often frame forgiveness as something that we receive from a higher power or from an authority figure.
Okay.
The Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood emphasizes self-forgiveness.
Self-forgiveness.
As a key aspect of healing and growth.
So it's not about seeking absolution from an external source. It's about cultivating compassion and understanding towards ourselves, which sounds incredibly liberating, especially if we've been carrying around guilt and shame from past mistakes.
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Self-forgiveness allows us to release the weight of those past errors, and it helps us move forward with a clearer perspective.
So we can acknowledge our imperfections without letting them define us. It seems like a really crucial step in breaking free from that cycle of self-judgment and blame that can keep us so stuck in the past.
It is. It's about embracing our humanity, recognizing that we all make mistakes, and choosing to learn and grow from those experiences
Yeah.
instead of letting them hold us back.
It's a really powerful message of hope and resilience.
Yeah.
But I think some listeners might be thinking, wait a minute, doesn't this sound a little too easy?
Yeah.
What about accountability? What about making amends for the harm that we've caused others?
Those are really important considerations.
Yeah.
And the text doesn't shy away from them. While self-forgiveness is essential, it's not about sweeping our actions under the rug.
Well, it's not a free pass.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. The Brotherhood emphasizes taking responsibility for our actions and making amends where possible.
So it sounds like we have to strike a balance between compassion and accountability. We can forgive ourselves for the errors that we've made while still acknowledging the impact that those actions have had on others and taking steps to repair any harm that we may have caused.
Right. It's a nuanced approach
Right.
that acknowledges both the internal and the external dimensions of our actions.
It's a good reminder that true growth involves not just learning from our mistakes, but also making amends and striving to live in a way that aligns with our values and promotes harmony in the world around us. This is really interesting how the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood takes self-awareness, knowledge, and forgiveness and uses them to understand sin as error. But it's making me wonder, does this concept only apply to like individual actions? Or could we extend it to larger societal issues?
Ooh, that's a great question. What if we use this lens of error to look at social injustice, political conflicts, even global challenges like climate change?
That feels pretty radical to approach all those complex issues with less judgment and more understanding.
Right, but imagine if we didn't view those
Yeah.
who have different opinions as like enemies or sinners, but instead we saw them as individuals who are maybe operating from a place of error.
Okay.
Maybe they just lack information or empathy, or they don't understand the bigger picture.
That kind of shift in perspective could open up a lot of possibilities for dialogue and collaboration. Could we find more common ground if we went into those conversations with more curiosity and less condemnation?
It's definitely a challenge,
Yeah.
especially with issues that bring up strong emotions. But think about it. How often do conflicts get worse? Because each side is digging in their heels, convinced that they're right, and the other side is wrong.
It just becomes a battle of righteousness, where everyone's so focused on proving their point that they completely lose sight of any possible shared solution.
Exactly. But what if we could acknowledge that everyone is capable of making errors, even on a societal level? I think it creates space for humility and empathy. It allows us to ask, okay, what are we missing here? What are the root causes of this conflict, and how can we address them together?
So approaching conflict from this framework could lead to more nuanced and compassionate solutions. It seems like instead of trying to win at all costs, we could focus on understanding everyone's perspective and finding ways to move forward collectively.
Yeah, and that really aligns with the whole concept of restorative justice,
Okay.
which emphasizes repairing the harm and building relationships instead of just punishing.
So it's about recognizing that interconnectedness and seeking solutions that actually benefit everyone.
Exactly.
This is making me think, could we also apply this approach to how we address historical wrongs? Instead of just perpetuating these cycles of blame and resentment, could we use this lens of error to really try to understand the complexities of the past and find ways to heal and move forward?
It's definitely a delicate process, and it takes a willingness to engage with some difficult truths.
For sure.
But by acknowledging those errors of the past, both individual and collective, I think we can learn from them and create a more just and equitable future.
So it's not about getting stuck in that cycle of guilt and blame. It's about acknowledging the harm that was caused.
Yeah, it's about using the past as a teacher, not as a weapon.
And that's what this whole concept of sin as error is all about, right?
I think so.
It's about embracing our imperfections, learning from our mistakes, and striving to create a world where growth and understanding can prevail.
A powerful vision.
Yeah.
And it starts with each of us choosing to live by these principles, by cultivating self-awareness, seeking out knowledge, and practicing forgiveness.
Yeah.
We can contribute to a world where errors are just stepping stones on the path to greater wisdom and compassion.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge. How can you apply this idea of sin as error to the challenges that you're facing in your own life, in your relationships, and in the wider world?
And remember, understanding something doesn't mean that you're condoning it.
Right.
It's about having empathy
Mm-hmm.
and looking for solutions that address the root causes of conflict and suffering.
Maybe by embracing this perspective, we can all work together to transform those errors into opportunities for growth, understanding, and collective healing. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep seeking knowledge, keep asking questions, and keep striving to make the world a more compassionate and understanding place.